Welcome aboard, folks. I'm Stephen Malkowich, your captain on this adventure called Ship of Fools. I'm a fool. Lucky for you, I'm not sailing solo. Join me and a boatload of people, all just trying to make sense of this crazy world. It's a fabulous mess, and you're invited. Okay, welcome to Ship of Fools, where wit meets wisdom. The wonderful thing, as I always say about the podcast here, is that one of the reasons that I do this is because of my curiosity, but I also get to talk to whoever I want to talk to and speak to current issues. One thing that has arisen, and there was a specific instance that happened just recently, but I'm not going to get to that. Ray, you know what I'm talking about. But Ray Goldenchild here, who is a very involved in the soccer community in the Lower Mainland of British Columbia, specifically in Vancouver, with his own soccer academy. He has been a guest. He is a returning guest. But specifically, what we're going to be talking about today is the World Cup and FIFA, which is, when is the first game scheduled, Ray?
Oh my goodness, I didn't even know. Beginning of June.
Beginning of June.
Yeah,
so it is just around the corner.
Just around the corner.
Yeah. And the core issue here is in our previous discussions, you attempted to the term was to tone down my exuberance towards being against this. I know there's a better word for that, right? Because it has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm a soccer fan. I'm not saying I'm not, but we're getting closer to D-Day, to it coming off, and we're spending huge amounts of money, and we're going to spend more money. And I wanted to, I think the time is right for us to actually have a civil discussion and some discourse on what this means and what the real costs are going to be, not just financially, but from a socioeconomic perspective, as well as, if there is an upside, I'd like to talk about that too. Okay. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to you, Ray. And where are we at right now with the first game? How many games are going to be held in Vancouver?
I think, first of all, thanks for having me on. Yes. Thanks for having me back. Okay. I think in Vancouver, there'll be a total of maybe 7 games. That
many?
Yeah, I think so. I believe it's that many that are being played here, because it's different groups that are playing here. It's not just the group that Canada's in, but we'll have New Zealand here, we'll have Belgium here, Egypt will be here. So these are all from different groups, right?
Okay.
So, what I'm hearing from, my circle is that there's still quite a few tickets left out there. And in fact, the demand for the tickets is going down. It's not going up as we were led to believe. The demand is actually going down. And there's obviously a number of factors for that, but none of them good. Right? None of them good.
And the number that's been thrown around, and this could be anecdotal, but this is just in the circle of people that I speak with, saying that each game has a hard cost of between $72 and $80 million to pull off. That's a big nut.
And that includes, probably part of the biggest nut in that is security. Security is a major factor that swallows up a lot of that money, and that's not something we're investing or coming back.
It's not,
it just
evaporates. It evaporates. Yeah. So, but the fact that we're the population at best is ill-informed at the best of times.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's going to be traffic stoppages, if there's going to be bridges closed. I have no idea. I don't want to sound ranty. And this is, and I'm just, because I want to get this. For me, it's like the elephant in the room here. I got hit on a major thoroughfare with the street being blocked, and it was a motorcade of 3 blacked out Suburbans, not even hiding the fact that what they were. they had the logo on the side of the doors.
So it wasn't the Avengers?
No,
it was FIFA?
It wasn't the FBI. It wasn't President Trump. It wasn't. It was FIFA.
Okay.
And they had stopped the traffic, and it was backing up traffic onto the Oak Street Bridge, which I don't even know why they would be there.
Yeah.
I have actually no idea because of where my office is. I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? A shortcut from the airport? I don't know. But okay, why do you need to stop traffic to do? And meanwhile, there's like 16 dump trucks, 8 cement mixer trucks, and I'm talking about West 70th, man, which is the connector from Granville to go over the bridge and then to go on to Marine and like. So I just. And that's when I called you.
Who knows? This is, we're going into farcical territory
exactly.
now.
I needed to rant, but it brings to light.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, there's people that will say that, the money could be better spent, but the government's been known to waste money on all kinds of things. So there'll be a lot of people that'll say, hey, this is a good spend of the money. There's definitely going to be disruptions depending on what side of the equation you're on.
Yeah, and we are like we're zoned in on the cost of the World Cup and the impact long term, and if people are pissed off, I don't see. There's not people out in the street with pitchforks, but they're not going to be.
Nah.
We're gonna go along with it, and then when things, if they do go for shit, we'll just be real critical.
Yeah, we'll be critical after, but for me, this is we can already see it happening. We're seeing just in the last month, the drop in ticket demand across the country. They're saying from, Toronto to Vancouver, we're looking at maybe 20% just in the demand for the tickets. So the demand isn't there anymore. A lot of these people that bought tickets to sell them in the secondary market or even FIFA's secondary market, we're seeing people selling these tickets for cost now, and they better get rid of them quick because they might be stuck with these tickets.
Or have to sell them at loss.
At game day. We all know how that goes. I know a lot of people bought tickets to resell because the hype was such that you can't lose. But we see that now you might lose. You might lose, right? So it's not, and because we know even for the Canada games, these stadiums aren't sold out. And the biggest issue for me, why people aren't buying the tickets, just the cost. Yeah. Right, the cost. Even if people, we all want the World Cup. It's an amazing, thing to have the World Cup in our country. But the cost is just not in line with people's ability.
What are the shittiest tickets? What are the face value of the shittiest tickets at? And does it change per game?
Like it changes, depending on the teams that are playing.
And is it dynamically priced?
Well, this is the garble that they're always talking about, dynamic pricing. Let's just face it. I mean, this is a cash grab, right? In the States, the ticket sales are still very good, but Canada, Canada is not good. And we're seeing even the Vancouver game, Canada playing here in Vancouver against Switzerland. I mean, that game's not sold out. And you would think as a host nation.
That would be one.
Leading up a month before the World Cup. So that game is not sold out. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. And so, for comparison, you could get a decent ticket. And I mean, we factor in inflation and stuff, but in South Africa, when the World Cup happened there in 2010, you could get good tickets for $200, $300 US. But here, if you want a decent ticket, you're paying over $1,000 easily. And that's just not conducive to people's budgets. It's not, this is a tough economy.
The last time I inquired, it was $1,500.
Yeah, so who has $1,500? And are you going by yourself?
Yeah.
You want, you know what I mean? So if you're bringing a partner, you're bringing a child, I mean, this is going to be, you're into the $4,000 or $5,000 to watch a soccer game. Come on, that's not.
Am I missing something though? In Europe, when they hold these events, are the tickets the same amount of money? No, this is unique to North America. We are absolutely the suckers of the world because we'll pay stupid money for these kind of events, right? So nowhere else has the World Cup ever been that expensive. I mean, you could even in Qatar in 2022, they weren't anywhere near the price that they are now. I think this is, the U.S. is just a cash cow for events like this. And this dynamic pricing we're hearing, it's all Google. So just for my edification, because I'm so stupid, Canada, we've got Vancouver
Yeah, and Toronto.
and Toronto. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we have to factor in, if Canadians are going to come, they're not only going to have to pay for that ticket, they're going to have to pay to fly here, or if they're stupid enough to drive like 16 hours, and then they're going to have to pay an inflated price
For the hotels.
accommodation.
Yeah, for accommodations, absolutely.
And what that's going to do is the accommodation, everyone else that's potentially going to come or wants to come to Vancouver as a tourist,
Forget about it.
Forget about
Not during the World Cup.
not during the World Cup.
Not during the World Cup.
And how long does the World Cup last for? A
It'll
month?
be about a month.
30
and-
days.
Yeah, so just over a month.
So we're batting.
Actually, no, we're more like closer to 2 months. Closer to 2 months, because we're into mid July before we're done.
And the other thing too is, and I could be wrong when I bring this up, that in Toronto they were saying that they were canceling events. They were canceling, like they were planning this XYZ event and da 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 da, and then they found out that, and they were trying to sell tickets to it, and they didn't sell enough tickets to make it viable, just to cover the expense for security to hold that event. So you're going, like, are we setting ourselves up to have big screens sitting outside downtown Vancouver and the stadium being half empty?
I think so. I think a lot of people are really going to be heading to the viewing parties because that's reasonable, right?
Yeah.
You're at proximity.
Yeah, and I don't.
You feel the vibe, but you're not paying for the vibe. You know what I mean? So I think the viewing parties, and a lot of the municipalities are hosting them. I think there's in New West and Coquitlam, Burnaby, obviously in Vancouver. I think those places are going to be packed. But in terms of the stadium, I don't know. I think it's going to be a case of, on the day of, a lot of tickets there's going to be a fire sale for a lot of these tickets, because we can see it now that they're not, the stadiums are still lots of availability.
Right now, okay, so as of right now, we don't know when is the first game scheduled to be played?
Beginning of June, right?
So June, whatever.
Yeah, beginning of June. I don't know the exact schedule, but
so have all of the last time we had you on, we were talking.
Everybody's locked in now.
Everybody's locked in. Everybody's locked in. Yeah. So all of these practice fields, the turf has been replaced with real grass.
Yeah. So what they've built, the practice field that are going to be used in Vancouver will be at UBC, right? Okay. I think at the Whitecaps training grounds. So that'll be a field that's being used for some of the teams that'll be based in Vancouver, and then also Killarney. Okay. So they built next to the Killarney Community Center. They built a grass practice field there. That's going to be used for the teams that are playing in, that are based out of Vancouver.
Is that a real good look when you call it the Whitecaps training facility when they're moving to Las Vegas?
Well, it's not a done deal yet. We're optimistic. It's not a done deal. That's a conversation for a whole. We'll come back to that actually, right? That's a conversation for a whole other. We don't know if it's a, we hope they stay. We hope they stay, but. It's tough, right?
It's a business.
It's a business. It's tough. And even if there's a good opportunity for them to stay, they're talking about some billionaire in Vegas wants a team in Vegas. I mean, it's hard for the MLS to turn down, right?
Yeah. Well, because they're going to, whoever owns the team's going to make a piss pot full of money selling it to.
Yeah. And then when that expansion fee, which is going to be, in excess of $500 million plus, that gets divvied up between all the owners of the league.
So they're all for it.
They're all for it, right? And so when if that comes up for a vote, I don't think you're going to get it.
Nobody's saying no to that.
You're not, and so it's a lot of stress for the city. It's a lot of stress. You have to give up a lot of concessions that don't necessarily make sense for the city of Vancouver. But if you want to keep the team here, you don't have much of a choice. They're not giving up BC Place. I mean, that was the other thing, give control of BC Place to the Whitecaps. That's not going to happen because you have the Lions there, right? So now you have to think about, finding them land. Is it at the old Empire site? In the past, the owner of the Whitecaps had proposed building at down on the sea, down there, and he'd proposed building there, but that didn't. The city was against it then. The Port Authority was against it then for a number of reasons. It would have been a great real estate play for him, but in terms of would it have made sense even today? Probably wouldn't have, because he was proposing to build a 15,000 seat stadium. right? And if that team was in the MLS today, 15,000 is
Not big enough.
it's not big enough. You need to be at least 25 to 30 and have the capacity to expand larger. So that wouldn't have worked anyways, right? It wouldn't have worked anyways. And so I don't know. I don't know what a good solution is. I mean, the best solution is you move the team to Surrey, but then what would they be called? The Surrey Whitecaps? Or, they have plenty of land out there and lots of ambition.
That's right. We certainly do. But like I was doing a little bit of research and sort of looking at the payroll of the Whitecaps, and they got some players that they're paying a lot of dough, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but in relation to the rest of the league,
no,
this is one of the teams that pays no one.
Yeah,
with the exception of Thomas Muller.
Yeah, the German.
Maybe a couple of other guys are making a bit of money, but there's other teams in the leagues that are paying guys in excess of $10 million per season.
Yeah, well, what is Messi in Miami? They're paying him 22.
That money is not money you count. That's money you weigh. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. That's a different level.
Does soccer really have a chance? Like, does professional soccer really have a chance of sustaining itself in like I can start with Vancouver, but I can start and then sort of talk about Canada and the United States. It probably has a chance. But are we kidding ourselves here?
You know what?
And I know you're a soccer guy.
Youth soccer is huge in North America, in Canada especially.
Participatory.
It's massive. It's massive, but it's the transition from participation to the professional ranks. In Europe, the game isn't really, they've been at it for a long time. So, some of these clubs do okay, but for many of these clubs in Europe, I mean, they're community-based clubs. So the primary objective isn't to make money; it's about serving the community.
It's the fabric of the community.
Yeah, it's about serving the community, and those clubs aren't just for When you have a club like for example, Barcelona, which is one of the biggest clubs in the world. I mean, it's not. They say it's more than a club, but they're not just a football or soccer club. I mean, they have the basketball team, handball. So the club serves the community, and that's their primary function. And then, you go levels above that, and you're looking at how to commercialize your product. But really, all these clubs, if you go across Europe, it's about serving the community. It's just like a local community center that has a soccer team or a whole bunch of soccer teams, basketball teams, volleyball teams. I mean, it's the same idea, same principles.
Are we even I don't think infrastructure-wise we're even set up.
We're not even close.
Have that
We're not even close. We're not even close.
I can't help but when I look at it and I see this, if it plays out in very poorly, the ramifications of this are not going to be good for youth soccer.
No, not at all. So this for me is a missed opportunity. So we know now the cost of the World Cup at this point in Vancouver, the province of British Columbia and in Vancouver, they're spending in excess of $500 million. We know that now. They haven't come out with the final numbers, but we know that it's we've gone past the $500 million mark.
According to Carson Bender with Canadian Taxpayers Federation, he thinks it's close to $1 billion.
Absolutely. We know for certainty it's past 500 million. Yeah. And when we get the final price tag, which we'll find out probably many, many years from now, we'll probably would have surpassed the $1 billion mark. So we know this already. And for me, we're hosting just a few games and we're spending $1 billion. And before we have the conversation, about maybe this could have been better spent for social housing or this, we're talking about soccer. This is a World Cup. This is a soccer event. And so for me, what should benefit is the soccer community at large, because this is why the World Cup is coming here, right?
Yes.
We support it. So for me, I look at this as a missed opportunity. At the end of this, what should happen is that every neighborhood in Vancouver should have a microfield, because if it's about growing the sport, the best way to grow the sport isn't to refurbish BC Place Stadium. That's not how you grow the sport. The best way to grow the sport is to build microfields in every neighborhood so kids can just go out and play organically. That's how you grow the sport. That's how the sport has grown everywhere else in the world. And if you can invest at the end, when the final bill comes in, even at $500 million, if you can invest $500 million to host, the games that I can't count my two hands, why can't you build? We have unique neighborhoods in Vancouver, probably 25 unique neighborhoods in Vancouver. Why can't you build 25 microfields in every neighborhood in Vancouver. If you can spend $500 million to bring the World Cup to Vancouver, not even Canada, but just Vancouver, why can't you build a microfield? Because that would be a lasting legacy. And for context, in Morocco, right? So our population is about 41 million, Canada. Yeah. Morocco's population is about 38 million. So for context, in Morocco, in the last 5 or 10 years, they've been, let me give you a city, Casablanca. They've been building microfields in every neighborhood in Casablanca for the last 5 to 10 years. And the job just continues. It's going to spread out throughout the whole country. But just Casablanca is a sample size. And they made it to the World Cup semifinal in 2022.
Because of that.
Just football's exploded. I mean, every kid has the opportunity to play. They'll have a Messi. That country will produce a Messi before Canada ever does because they've built it. They say if you build it, they will come. And so they're building an infrastructure to allow for, you know, this kind of talent identification. So if you have kids and the social benefits, I mean, having kids play soccer all day in a little facility
rather than hanging out at 7-Eleven,
you can't lose, right?
You can't.
So there's so many other benefits, and then there, you know, it's informal. So these kids aren't, you know, you're not paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to play in a team. It's informal. You just show up every day at the park. It's turfed, it's beautiful, lined, and you just play all day. And that's in every single neighborhood in Casablanca. And they're growing it out towards the whole country. And if you look at what Morocco's producing on the world stage, they've got guys playing at PSG. PSG's in the Champions League final in a week. They've got a player at Real Madrid. I mean, this is where this comes from. It comes from the ground, right? Grassroots. And why we can spend $500 million on a World Cup in BC, but we can't build fields. And there's also no big fields being built in Vancouver. They're refurbishing a couple of fields, but, you know, what's the lasting legacy? Those fields needed to be refurbished long before the World Cup ever came here. With $500 million, you're telling me you can't have something that would set up a fund for the soccer community, $50 million to build 10 big fields and a bunch of microfields. I mean, that would be the legacy. And then I'm all for it.
Okay,
sell the tickets, don't sell the tickets. I don't care. I'm all for it.
Is it too late?
Way too late.
It's way too late.
Way too late. This is, you know, we don't know where this money's going to go. A lot of it's going to go to security. Who knows? And a lot of it's going to get eaten up in things that we know we'll never know about for years and years and years to come. If they would have left the, you know, what can we say about the Olympics? The Olympics, whether you liked it, didn't like it, the legacy's here. We see the candlelight. Right. We see the Sea to Sky Highway.
We see the dome in Richmond.
We see the dome. We see the gymnastics center at Hillcrest. You see it with your eye. The legacy remains. But what will be the legacy of this World Cup other than debt for the next generation? Right?
And Donald Trump got a special prize.
Right. And, you know,
he got a what did the president of FIFA, the best president?
It's really funny because that president knew that, okay, I've got to get this guy on board. I've got to kiss this guy's ass. He came to Washington, he kissed his ass, he gave him a made-up trophy, he did everything he's supposed to do. And in the end, Trump still said, you know, these tickets are really expensive. I wouldn't pay $1,000 to watch this game. It was like, right?
So you know, now who was the primary driver of this? And let's just start from Vancouver. Was Ken Sims the mayor? Was he a big proponent of this?
I think he inherited it.
He inherited.
Yeah, he inherited it. And what are you going to say as a mayor of Vancouver? I mean, it's great. I mean, you're the mayor who presided over the World Cup. He
gets good tickets. He'll probably be part of the motorcade.
Oh, probably. He said this is like 30 or 40 Super Bowls. You know, that's what he was pitching to us. Oh, well, yeah, this will be like 30 or 40 Super. This is when he just came back from the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, nice.
Listen, the Super Bowl makes money. This will not. This will not, right? Not for us. Not for us.
So we'll see. Because I'm completely I have not. I'm illiterate when it comes. I don't know who's playing who. I know Canada's playing here. How many games?
Well, the first game will be, I think, against Bosnia in Toronto, right? Toronto. So they'll play a few games in Toronto and then here in Vancouver.
I will admit I'll watch on TV.
Yeah,
I will, because I always watch the World Cup.
Yeah.
Will I be glued to the set? I don't know. If Canada starts to win or something good happens, I'll probably watch it. But how many teams start?
They've expanded the World Cup, so
Okay.
they've expanded. So there's all kinds of layers here. I mean,
okay.
it's not the traditional World Cup that the real football people, this is the only team that didn't get invited to this World Cup is, I don't know.
Iran.
Well,
Well,
they're
Iran
coming.
got
Yeah,
is
well,
Iran coming?
yeah, they qualified.
But they're not coming.
No, they're coming.
Are they?
Yeah, of course. The World Cup is bigger than politics. They've got.
You're shitting me.
I'm not shitting you at all. They're coming. Of course, of course, of course. You can.
I thought Trump banned them.
Nah, you can't. It's beyond his jurisdiction, my friend.
Does Afghanistan have a team?
What they do, but they didn't qualify.
They didn't qualify. Okay, so how many teams?
I think this World Cup's expanded, so there's 48 teams. But this
48
is,
teams.
this is not a World Cup.
See, I'm writing this stuff down.
It's 48, but traditionally the World Cup, used to be 24 teams, and they expanded to 32. But this is a little bit much now, right?
So, will because it's being held here in North America, will it mean that the rest of the world gives a little less of a shit about it, or do you think that the world?
No, it's
as a whole,
it's the
still
World
the
Cup.
big-
Look,
it's
we
the
can
World
say, look, financially, it's not a good move. The impacts aren't going to be good for the province and the city, right? This is a loser financially. It's not a winner, okay? But once the games begin, it's the World Cup, man.
Yeah.
Once the games begin, it's a World Cup. Everybody's tuning in, right? We're all cheering. And, we want to see Canada do well. Our issue for Canada is that the team is very strong. Love the team. They're strong. The issue we have right now is our best player, Alfonso Davies. He's injured. And remember, he got injured on international duty. He did his knee. So his club side, Bayern, is going to be very reluctant to release him unless he's not 100%, but 101%.
So you're pretty much saying we're screwed.
I don't know if we're screwed. I think the team is still going to do well, but losing your best player can never be helpful, right? So we'll see. I mean, it's hopefully it works out and he's fit and he's able to play. But if he doesn't play, yeah, I think that's gonna be some challenges for Canada.
What is it? Does it sound like he's going to play? But his team, you're saying his home club has to release him.
His home club. If he's fit, they have to release him. They have an obligation to release him. But
Where does he play?
In Bayern Munich in Germany.
Okay.
Right. But if he's fit, they have an obligation. They have to release him. However, if you're that team and he got injured the last time in international duty, you're likely not going to be in a rush to release him unless you absolutely know for a fact that he's good to go. So I hope he's fit and healthy and able to play. And it's also for the fans, right? For the fans who will get to watch these games, having him play, at home in a World Cup is going to be amazing. I mean, it won't happen again, right? This will be a once in a lifetime.
I'll ask you this question. Do you think that if they don't sell out BC Place for these games, would they just dump tickets and make sure that there's as many bums in the seats as they possibly can? Because on a world stage, you don't want to look like your stadium's half empty.
Yeah, I would. I don't know what they'll do, but I think they would have to do the common sense thing.
Boy, I'd be pissed if I paid $2,500 for a ticket and found out somebody paid $250.
But it's going to happen, and it's happening now. It's already happening now. I mean, people are selling these tickets because remember, people bought the tickets, then resold them on the aftermarket. And FIFA has their own secondary market as well, which is a whole nother story. FIFA has their own platform to resell tickets. So when you resell on FIFA's secondary platform, they take 15% when you sell the ticket, and then they take 15% from the person who buys the ticket.
Beauty.
Right. So this
Isn't
is
FIFA just like another acronym for organized crime?
Well, no comment, but this isn't.
I had a question. What does FIFA stand for?
The Federation of International Football Association. So, whichever language you translate it in, basically the same thing.
The head guy there gets paid about $10 million a year.
Oh, we'll never know what he gets.
We'll never
paid,
know because
right?
it's all.
We'll never know. I mean, I guess it's public, right? It's a nonprofit, so it's public. But
Has it always been this corrupt?
It depends who you ask, right? Depends who you ask.
I'm asking you.
For some people, it's great. For some people, it's not,
Well, it would be great if you were on the board.
I don't think that's ever going to happen in this lifetime or the next.
But like, who are they, like, who are they accountable to?
It's a great question. Who
are they accountable to?
Really no one.
Like, there's no, like, they're not accountable to a specific league. Like,
no,
like they're not like they're not accountable to any.
Many are accountable to them, but I'm not aware of anybody that they're actually accountable for. I mean, to their membership, I guess, right? To their membership, but in terms of, they're based in Switzerland, so I mean, they're not really accountable to anybody.
Nobody, yeah.
All right.
So, and then each country, these are, and I apologize for the stupidity of some of these questions here, but each country, they obviously they subsidize or provide support. There's obviously sponsorship, like for the the French team has sponsorship, but the country subsidizes the team to play in the World Cup. Right?
Yeah, but it's a huge bonanza. I mean, for the TV rights for these games, this is a huge bonanza for the vendors that are involved in this tournament, right? This is a huge money-making event. It's just not necessarily a huge moneymaker for the people hosting the event. So there's lots of people connected to the event, from television rights to you name it, that are, this is a cash cow. It's a huge event, but we have to pay that cost. The city of Vancouver and the province of British Columbia have to pay the cost. Lots of people are going to make money from it. We will not. And I guess there's a school of thought that it's going to increase business in the city. So the restaurants are going to be busier. Tourism is going to, there'll be more tourism. But I don't know. There's not a lot of math to necessarily support that. We know that in Vancouver, the hotel's already at capacity in the summertime.
Well, summer.
In the summertime, they're already at 100% capacity, right? So I don't know if what are we going to go, 300% capacity? I mean, 100 is 100. So I don't know if it's going to bring in necessarily, any more people, because we already are maxed out every summer. There's actually a school of thought that says some of these hotels will end up being empty because the prices for these hotels, a hotel that, you could have rented a room for $200 is now renting that room for $600. That's going to turn a lot of people away. So we may have a situation where we actually may turn off a lot of people who otherwise would have come to Vancouver for things other than soccer. But during this specific period of time, it's just too expensive. Everything across the board is going to be.
I did read an article, and it was either in the Financial Times or the Economist. And this is probably going back 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, saying that this may be the impetus for creating a home for the World Cup, meaning that there might just be one place where the World Cup is going to be held, use Disney World or something like that. It'll be this is where, but whether or not that's not a selling feature in the rest of in the West, it might be. It's like the Olympics, for instance, because the cost of the Olympics is astronomical for putting that on.
Yeah.
And if you're going to spend all that money on infrastructure and you're talking about legacy, why wouldn't you just hold it in one spot and say that you're going to continue to build on that? But then, there's going to be people that'll be against that.
Yeah, I mean, the World Cup is called the World Cup because it's the World Cup. Yeah. It's you see different cultures. And it used to be one cycle. It's in Europe. The next cycle, it's in the Southern Hemisphere. But if we're just talking dollars and cents, yeah, absolutely. It makes more sense to just host the World Cup in the United States. Forget Canada and Mexico. The World Cup is, where it makes money is in the United States. So the tickets in the U.S. are still...
that's right. They got more money there.
Yeah, they got more money. The population is, in excess of 400 million people. Yeah. And not just that. In the U.S., you have ethnic communities. Yes. At least 25 unique ethnic communities in the U.S. that have more than 1 million people. So if if Brazil has more than 1 million Brazilians living in the United States, you're not going to have any issues selling those games out. And you're not going to have any issues charging top dollar. So from economic standpoint, yeah, absolutely. If you had the World Cup, if you had any event in the U.S. every cycle, it's going to make money. And the Copa America was in the U.S. just this last cycle because it'll make a lot more money in the U.S. Right? So Gold Cup, is in the U.S. because it makes money. So they're 100% right, but it would take away from what the World Cup is supposed to represent, which is it's a global initiative, right?
How is the World Cup held every 4 years?
Every 4.
Every 4 years. Right. And the cyclical nature of that, when is it in advance? When is it decided?
So
Who's going to hold it?
So we're going into this World Cup now, and so the preparations for the next World Cup have already started. I'm trying to think, where's the 2030? I think that's going to be split between 3 countries as well. Like, just off the top of my head, I can't remember, but they'll announce usually, before this World Cup begins. So they've already made the announcement for.
And the appropriate payola head.
Yeah. Wow.
So there, that has, so it has not been announced. The one, or it has been announced.
Yeah,
it has been announced that in 4 years' time it'll be wherever the heck it is.
Yeah. Don't quote me on this.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's been or it's coming, but they need the lead up time, right? So you have to choose the next location because you need the lead up time for.
What are your, because you run your soccer academy? What are the kids saying? What's the buzz?
From the kids, I mean, it's exciting that the World Cup is coming here. I'm sure a lot of them will go to Killarney into the Whitecaps facility, try to sneak under the fence or to peep under the fence. No, you can't. But there'll be kids.
Why would you? Why would you want to allow that?
There'll be kids. I'm sure there'll be tickets to watch some of the training sessions, but we're not talking about thousands of people. We're talking about a few people who will have access to watch some of the training sessions, right? So it's not a ticket that's really affordable for kids, right? And this is part of the lost opportunity. It's not a ticket that's affordable for kids. So yes, there's a lot of kids who are excited the World Cup is coming here, but I can guarantee you a lot of kids will not be watching the World Cup. It's just too expensive.
Was there any outreach at all made to various soccer associations and saying this is how you could participate?
Yeah, but the whole ticket buying process is not a straightforward process. So you can't say, I want to watch this game initially. Initially, when the tickets were released, it was a lottery situation. You put your name into a lottery and then they picked, and then those people that were picked could then purchase the tickets, right? So now we're finding that I can just go online and just purchase the tickets because they're just readily available now. But initially, when the tickets were first announced, you couldn't just purchase a ticket. You had to put your name forward into a lottery. Then they would
put money down?
I suppose you had to, right? Then FIFA would do their voodoo, and then the winners would get the tickets, and that's where people got those early tickets. And then those are the people trying to probably resell them on secondary markets, right? Because they had access now. But now that's why we're saying that this is going to be an issue, right? It's going to be an issue because we're seeing these games are not sold out. There's lots of empty seats still left because I can now log on and just buy tickets, right? I can log on and buy tickets, so that means there's the stock is out there.
So we got 48 teams over arguably a 30-day period, whittling its way down to the final.
Yeah, more than 30.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Is there any chance, have they already predetermined where the semifinals? Everything. And we're not even in that.
You never know. The most exciting game we might get here might be Portugal if everything plays out the way it's supposed to play out for that team. They would then end up having either a quarterfinal or semifinal here in Vancouver. It would be a quarterfinal, not a semi, but I think it'd be a quarterfinal that they could end up having in Vancouver if everything plays out the way that it should for Portugal. And that would be exciting to have Ronaldo play in Vancouver. That would be exciting.
Sounds to me like you need a degree in statistics to understand how this is all going to.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and for a lot of people who understand this stuff, I mean, they bought the tickets based on that. The other really exciting game, other than Canada, that might be here in Vancouver, might be the Belgium game, right? Okay. That might be really exciting because there's some big stars to play in the Belgium team. Their only issue is that if Belgium is favored to win their group, and if they win their group, then their last game would be against New Zealand. And traditionally, teams will rest their best players in a game that's not.
So you're not going to see it.
You may not see them. But if they screw up one of the first 2 games, then there's a potential that a Belgium ticket against New Zealand would be massive because you'd see some of the greatest stars on planet Earth in that game. Right? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like from some of the top teams, Real Madrid, Man City. It'd be an amazing experience, but we don't know for sure.
So what do you think the chances of FIFA going and saying, listen, we're kind of hitting a wall here with our ticket sales and going around to various soccer organizations and offering them
I hope it happens, and I know, for example, in the Arab community, Qatar is playing in Vancouver, and they had a big delegation that was coming to Vancouver for some reason. The country has pulled the plug on that. So yeah, so normally, a country that qualifies for the World Cup, especially these kind of Gulf countries, but they're having their own issues right now. They'll send lots of fans. Government will sponsor tours or planes and go and watch a World Cup, support the country. But the government's not doing that any longer, so there's not going to be a lot of Qatari fans here to support the team, in the World Cup. And so I know that they've reached out to the local Arab community here and have created a setup where you can apply to go watch the games and cheer for Qatar, but you have to prove that you're actually from that region of the world. So they want to see your, your passport, your driver's license. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. They don't want Johnny
Schmuckhead coming in and saying
from Burnaby say, get him into the game, then he cheers for Canada, right? That's not going to work out. So I know there's a lot of Arab guys that have put their names into that, and they're coming back to you very quickly. You apply today, they let you know tomorrow because because they have all this allocation of tickets, and they need somebody in the stadium cheering for Qatar. So you go to the local Arab community and say, hey, put your name in this draw, and you get a ticket. You can go watch a game, but you've got to prove that you're free. They got to see the name. You got to prove you're from that part of the world. You can't fake the funk, right?
Yeah.
You can't fake the funk on that. So when you're asking about if we get to a point where, hey, Canada's playing in Vancouver and the stadium's not sold out, I hope that they would go to, some of these local clubs that we have in the city and local academies and say, hey, you have kids who want to go to the games, here you go, and let's, fill this place up. And let's cheer for Canada. Absolutely. I hope that happens.
Are you petitioning right now? Are you in there on the phone?
Nah.
Because I know you and Ken Sims are like this, and you and whoever the president of FIFA is. What's his name? Probably some name I can't present.
Infantino.
Infantino.
Yeah, Infantino, right?
Work your Italian contacts.
I don't think so.
Work those people and get them in there.
I hope they do the right thing. That would be amazing. That would, even if I never got to to see a game. I mean, I'm hoping to get a ticket off the street, and I'm going to wait it out, right? But even if I didn't, I'm hoping they do that for the kids in the community. And if the games are in any games that aren't sold out in Vancouver, I'm hoping that they will allow or give the opportunity to children who especially from disadvantaged communities, to go see the games. Who there's no way in the world any of these kids would ever see those games at the current prices.
Since our last discussion about the World Cup. It's kind of played out the way that you anticipated when we initially had our discussion.
Yeah, if we're being honest, it's going into debacle territory. It's a shit show. I mean, the amount of money that's being spent, there's no legacy that's being left behind. It's the taxpayers are going to have to foot that bill. The city of Vancouver doesn't have that money. It's something they couldn't afford. The province doesn't have that money. It's something they couldn't afford. And they're going to be left with a debt of $1 billion. I mean, who's paying for this, right? And what's the legacy? There is no legacy.
What are they going to do with all the downtown east side people? You're just going to move them out to, where are they going to move them to?
I don't know. I mean, do they even need to? I mean, the security, the security during that time is going to be pretty.
He's going to go around and pepper spray them and hose them down.
I don't know.
Wash them down the street.
I'm going to tell you something. The city of Vancouver is going to look beautiful during the World Cup. How it becomes beautiful, I'm not to comment. But they have to present well, right?
Yeah. The thing is, look, the World Cup, they set all the rules. Like they're the guys that say, this is the way it is. If they could go so far as to dial up the weather, to do they're in control of everything.
Yeah.
Like pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So they're, even if things, like we've all seen instances where things go for shit. And as they're going for shit, nothing is done to rectify or to attempt to rectify the situation. Because you can go, well, listen, that was then, this is now.
Yeah.
We actually need to do this. Do you think that there's the wherewithal with FIFA as an organization to be able to react to what's happening, or is it just head in the sand? This is the way we do it. This is the way we've always done it.
I think two different ideas here. I think for FIFA, this is great. I think this is going to be, this World Cup's going to generate a ton of money. So I don't think there's any
television, right?
Yeah, television. So I don't think it's an issue for them. I just think it might be an issue for, your average Joe locally, right? I don't think this is a win for us. I mean, lots of people want to go and support the country. We want to support Canada. We want to go watch the games, but the tickets are just, they're putting profits before community, right? And when you do that, like, let me give you an example. Iran was supposed to play Canada some time ago, and the game got canceled, right? And there's still people who are part of this organization called the Red or whatever. They can buy tickets at a discounted price, get them early. I mean, they still haven't gotten refunded, and that was, I think, 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. So, if they can't refund you for a game that was supposed to take place 2 years ago, they're not thinking about what's best for the community, right? Yeah. And so for FIFA, it's great, right? For the TV, for the TV, this is all beautiful business. This is a great cash cow. But we're talking about the World Cup is supposed to be for the people, and for the people, I don't necessarily think this is a good thing. For the city of Vancouver, for the province of British Columbia, I think the lasting impact of this World Cup isn't going to be something people look back on 10 years from now and say, this did so much good for this city, right? Because we know today there's not going to be a legacy left behind. The Whitecaps training facility is for the Whitecaps. It's not going to be turned into a field for kids to play on. It's for the Whitecaps, right? They're leasing it out while the World Cup is here. They're on the road while the World Cup is happening. They played a bunch of home games on the road. So that's still their facility. The facility being built at Killarney, that grass that is on that field has to resemble the grass that's at BC Place that is being used in the games. It has to be the same. That grass was grown out in the Fraser Valley. It's been grown out there for a long, long time, and then they're trucking it in to put down at the stadium and at the practice facility. And it may already be laid down at the practice facility. I suppose, it would be by now. But the reality is that in 5 years, I mean, who's maintaining that? Nobody's maintaining that to the level.
Is that grass is going to be taken out, right? Wow. Or are they just going to let it die?
Whether they take it out or leave it, I mean, what's that field going to look like in 5 years? In Vancouver, a grass field. What does a grass field look like in Vancouver?
Unless you take care of it.
Unless you take care of it. So, when we're talking about legacy.
Comparatively speaking, if I'm just looking at this anecdotally, I think it will the World Cup will fare far better in Toronto than it will here. Just because of the multicultural makeup of the city of Toronto.
100%. Yeah. I can't see games in Toronto being empty, right? I can't see that. It's just a bigger city, multi-conference. Yeah.
And to the best of your knowledge, is there any legacy?
Again, I'm not aware of any real legacy that's being built. They're expanding BMO Field. They're putting some stands up to expand the stadium, but like something that's tangible. I'm not hearing anything in Toronto or Vancouver. I know in BC, there's an initiative to build 10 microfields, and community organizations can put forward a proposal. And if your proposal is accepted, then there's a fund that's been set aside.
Oh, is there there's grant money?
Yeah, there's a fund that compared to what's being spent, it's minuscule, right? That's been set aside to build 10 microfields in the whole province, not Vancouver, but in the whole province.
When you say microfield, you mean the size of like a tennis court?
7v, where kids could play 6v6, 7v7, right? So they're building, but this is 10 throughout the whole province, and they're not just soccer specific. So there are 10 microfields being built. They may be for soccer, they may be for field hockey, they're just microfields. So it's not even, the province isn't even getting 10 micro soccer fields. They, out of those 10 fields, maybe half of them might be for soccer and the other half may be for something else. So that's not a legacy. That's not a legacy. What we need to see is if a country like Morocco in Africa can build a microfield in every neighborhood in Casablanca, why can't we do it in Vancouver? If this World Cup, if we're spending in excess of $500 million, closer to $1 billion, we can't set aside the money required to build microfields in every neighborhood. Like I can tell you right now, Metrotown, I mean, it's not Vancouver, but Metrotown, there's a huge ethnic population there. Lots. It's a missed opportunity. There needs to be a microfield there. Champlain, right? Champlain Heights, the public housing there. There needs to be a field there, right? On 41st near St. Margaret's, there's public housing there. There needs to be a microfield there. Trout Lake microfield. The downtown east side, there needs to be 2 or 3 microfields in those areas.
Even going over on the south side of the river in Wally.
Yeah, there needs to be microfields. So this is a missed opportunity. This should have been part of the deal, right? This should have been part of the deal that in every neighborhood, where there's issues of, social economic issues, like you build it there, you leave that lasting legacy there, and it's the World Cup 2026 field. And so there's lots of neighborhoods just in Vancouver that could absolutely benefit from having something like this. So that to me is a missed opportunity. And then if we're hosting a World Cup and the soccer community is supporting this, why aren't fields being built here locally? I mean, Vancouver desperately needs fields. I don't understand why they couldn't have built 5 or 10 fields. There would be no better time to push that agenda than right before a World Cup. I could understand the politics of, at any other time, there's going to be a lot of pushback.
Well, we have a provincial government that's $8.5 billion in debt.
Yeah, but this would be the perfect time. If you're going to spend $1 billion, you can't take another 50 mil and build some proper fields in the city. I mean, that should be the legacy.
Is from your perspective, is participation, is it growing from the youth end?
Yeah,
soccer end?
Yeah. It's always growing, right? Youth soccer still, even if we look at, it's not as affordable as it used to be, but it's still more affordable than hockey, than baseball, than American football. I mean, it's still more affordable. So that participation will always, will always be strong. But there's just 2 different conversations. There's the participation, and then we're talking about a professional, the business of soccer. 2 completely different
directly things. Your academy, Orix.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. Orix. Have you seen because of the World Cup? Have you seen a renewed, like I don't want to say renaissance, a renewed interest? Is there more interest in it or does anybody?
Not necessarily. I think your average person doesn't. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. The kids who play. Not necessarily. I mean, we had the World Cup here in 2015, the Women's World Cup, and that didn't spike the participation numbers. The numbers stayed the same. In fact, I think they even dropped a little bit, right? So it didn't have any. And we had Christine Sinclair here, but it didn't translate into more kids playing necessarily.
Christine Sinclair, she retired, right? Isn't that the top?
Yeah. She's retired now. She's an amazing player, had a great career, but retired now. But that may have inspired a lot of young women to play the game, but I don't necessarily know if it grew the numbers, right?
So we're basically sitting here and saying that this is probably going to end up being a boondoggle to a certain extent.
I think so. For the people who get to watch the games, it's going to be an amazing experience. And, I just wish that more could enjoy that experience. And the cost of the tickets is prohibitive, right? It's really difficult for people to be able to enjoy that experience when you're to bring your family to watch a game. You're into the thousands.
I want to talk a little bit about your academy. How are things at the academy? How are your teams doing?
Really good, really good. We've got we're growing, right? We're growing. We're excited. We're going to Spain in July. We're taking a bunch of kids, about 40 to 50 kids, to San Sebastian, Spain, to play in a big tournament there. Cool. So that's pretty exciting for the kids, and it's really great for the players to have something to look forward towards.
What age group?
They're U16 and U18, so 15 to about 18 years old.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. And so you've done international travel?
Yeah, last year we went. We played in Portugal, in Lisbon. We went to Lisbon last year, and again, like I say, it's about the experience. The soccer, it's Europe. The soccer's always amazing, right? The football's always amazing, I should say. But the experience for some of these kids, it's really amazing. It really opens up their eyes to possibilities that they never thought were available to them, right? A lot of these kids have never have never been outside the country, and let alone overseas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, when they get overseas and they, you're
Cool.
around different cultures and different people, and you just say, wow, I thought the world was only as big as Chilliwack, right? You know what I mean? It's actually, I've never tasted food like this before. So it opens their eyes to possibilities. And I think for young people, I think this is really important for young people to know that, their possibilities are limitless, right? Impossible is nothing. And I think that's really important. So that's what we try to, that's the point of the trips, is really the experience more so than the football.
And talking about it at a local level and the club level, from a participation perspective, I would imagine that the expense, just like everything else, has increased.
Yeah.
It's but it's still probably, I would suggest, soccer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably got the lowest barrier to entry from a participatory perspective.
Yeah, it still does. For the major sports, right? It still is, but we're not heading in a good direction. Right? We're not heading in a good direction. We're still heading. I mean, we can say, it's got the lowest but still, right? What's that actually mean? You tell that to a parent that you got to spend $500 for your kid to play for 6 months, and we say, but we've got the lowest.
Yeah.
If you've got 4 kids.
Yeah.
And
you still have to drive out to Langley to play, and
there's a lot that could be, there's a lot that could be done to really help grow the game, and I think we're going about it.
What needs to, Ray? What in attempting to wrap things up here? What needs to happen? Like what do we need to do from a societal perspective to get our shit together, and like allow our kids this opportunity? Like the worst thing that can happen, and I can talk to this specifically because we recently had a boxer who we watched, and that was Jim. You must know Jimmy Crescenzo, and we stepped up here to help this young gentleman out. We saw him fight. It was actually at the Buckskin Classic at the River Rock. He won. He's going. I think he's fighting in Quebec City. I think it's this next week. His goal is to make the Olympic team and box for Canada in 28 in LA, which is that's a hell of a goal, dream, whatever it is. But because I know so little about boxing, I didn't realize how goddamn tough it was. Like what do you like? Boxing, it's not like it's not the barrier to entry is, okay, you got to buy some gloves, you got to buy, and then you got to have a trainer, all this kind of stuff. But then you start looking at it and going, okay, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, how do you piece that together? You've got 3 jobs, you're going to the gym, you're doing all this other kind of things that never even entered my mind. And sort of the impetus of my involvement with it was that I was so impressed with the fight that I saw. I invited the fellow on and with his trainer and said, listen, and then I found out that they weren't able to go to an event because they lacked the funds. And then that's real. And I got upset about that, and then provided some funds, and then hooked them up with Jimmy and the East End Boys Club and some others that stepped up and said, hey man, let's go.
That's real.
And that's real. And that kind of stuff. And I'm sure that you correct me if I'm wrong, your academy, and this is not a slight on, you take players that, they don't have the $10,000 to join Surrey United or whatever it is and get the nice sweatsuits and shit like that. You take players that you have to. Yeah, you have to. And because the last thing you want is you want to see a kid that doesn't even have the opportunity. The door's not even open for them. And so like I this is just a roundabout way for me to say, what needs to change? And we're talking specifically here about soccer, and it filters down from the highest level, which is FIFA and the World Cup. And it filters all the way down. what in the hell do we have to do to change the way we look at sport and make it accessible to and provide the opportunity? Because we started off at the very beginning, you'd rather have the kids playing soccer at put some turf at an old debilitated tennis court, and they have a place to go rather than hanging out at the 7-Eleven.
I agree.
What needs to, why can't we do this?
Got to get the adults out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once the pay to play model is a hell of a drug, and so we've monetized youth sports, and I think we've broken it. I don't know if we can ever go back. At the moment, youth sports was monetized. Big problem, and it's not just for soccer; it's for hockey, it's for baseball. Once you monetize that, youth sports, and it should be about participation, right? Not about people earning money from youth sports, right? And I'm not against people who offer a good service or a good product to make money, but what we see now is governing bodies aren't you're part of our organization, so it doesn't matter whether you offer a good service or product. The fact that you're part of our organization, you get to charge XYZ. If you take out the monetization of the sport and just free market, I think, we'll be fine. So I can only speak for Canada. I can't speak for the rest of the world. Microfields.
Yeah.
It's really simple. If we're talking about participation, just let kids play. Just let kids play and the rest will solve itself. Just microfields in every neighborhood and just let kids play. Hell, more than one microfield in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
2 or 3 microfields and just let kids play. This is normal. This is normal behavior in children. Kids play 5v5, 3v3. You don't, when kids play pickup basketball, majority of these games are 3v3. You play,
referees.
you play 3v, there's no refs. And soccer is the same thing anywhere in the world. Kids play 5v5. It's pickup soccer. So if you go back to its basic core, what sport is, and you build from there and build out, you're fine. You're fine.
If you have, and I'll ask you this question, you were involved a little bit politically. And we touched on it when we had you on before, nobody was really interested in a common sense approach to anything. Do you have have you given up on that aspect of it, or just trying to chip away at it the best you can, or do you think that there's a little bit of life left in that dog where you're going to get you got to get maybe you either get involved politically or you have champions on your side that see it the same way that you do? And is it politically advantageous for someone to say, listen, you know what, all this other stuff is horseshit. This is what we need to do?
It'd be really great for the ex-pros, ex-national team players, the big names to come out and actually, talk about this stuff, because they have the social credit. People would actually pay attention. If we had a Christine Sinclair talking about the need for microfields in every neighborhood, people will pay attention, right? You hear it from me, who am I? But somebody like that, of course, right? So I think, and those people have traveled the world. They've seen in other parts of the world where kids play organically in neighborhoods, and that's how they learn to play the game. So I think our biggest stars in this country, men's and women's national teams, and if they come out and speak about these things, that, let's move away from the monetization and really keep it local and keep it organic and just let kids play without so much formal governance. I think, and what do you want? What do you want? In every country on planet Earth, their mission for the sport, for kids playing, is to produce players for their national team. That's the mission. If you go to Argentina, your whole goal in life is to, from the day you're to make the national team. So if that's your goal, then they need to build an infrastructure that supports that. And to support that, it would look like, like I said, again, going back to mini fields in every neighborhood and let kids play organically. And the more kids who play, the more kids who they're going to improve, and you're going to see the results, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's what is it we're looking for? If we're looking to make our clubs great, well, then the business model is going to be different. If we're looking to make our national team great, which should be what everybody should be signed up for, the pride of the country, then you would have that. And if you go to a country like Morocco, whose GDP is definitely smaller than ours, right? And, if they figured it out that in a city like Casablanca, you can have fields and everything.
Why can't we?
Why can't we? And nobody objectively can say that we're farther ahead in this game than Morocco is right now. Their national team is farther ahead. I mean, the numbers say that they made it to we were in the group with them, and they made it to the semifinals. Okay. We did not.
In wrapping things up here, Ray, I'm going to put you on the spot with a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, who should we be watching in Team Canada-wise? Name some names.
Oh, Jonathan David for sure. Alfonso Davies. Schalferberg, the kid from Nova Scotia. Okay, he's I've got to give some hometown to the Maritimes. What a story that is, right? What a story that is. And I hear who else? Kyle Aaron should, I hope, he does a good job for us. I mean, those are, we've got a talented group of kids, but those are the Laren, Davies. Those are the big three, they say, right? Okay. Oh, I like this kid too, Tajon Buchanan. Really a wonderful player to watch.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Now, the second question, and I promise I won't laugh. Canada's chances.
With Davies, we would, with Davies, we have definitely a chance of getting out of the group stage, and that would be amazing, right? Okay. Without him, it becomes a challenge. It becomes a challenge. But getting out of the group stage, I mean, for us, just getting out of the group stage would be, that would be like us winning the World Cup, right?
Okay.
That would be a huge accomplishment.
Huge
accomplishment. We've never been out of the group stage, so getting out of the group stage would be a massive accomplishment.
Okay. Third question. Who do you have your money on? Who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
Wow. Listen, the favorites obviously are France. They have enough to make 3 teams. They're that good. They're that good. France are the favorites. After France, I would probably think after France, you'd have to go with Spain or England. Stacked. Okay. Both of those groups are stacked to just an abundance of players. So France, yeah, England, Spain, absolutely. I think a lot of people would love to see Portugal do well. Ronaldo, this is the one thing that's missing in his amazing career is a World Cup.
And this is pretty much it for him. And that?
Well, we said that 2 World Cups ago. Okay, he's into his sixth World Cup, right? So never count that guy out. We said this, literally, you play 4 World Cups. Yeah. He's going into 6.
He's like the Manny Pacquiao of boxing.
Wow.
He never retired.
Wow. Yeah. Right. So no. Yeah. So I think this would be it. So so those would be, can you ever count out Brazil? Yeah, you probably can this time around.
They're not good.
I don't think so. Well, they're not a top team. Argentina, I think this World Cup might go to Europe in my opinion.
Okay, this is all going to be recorded, so we can come back on you.
Come back.
We can come back on you. Back. Okay, give your academy a plug.
Listen, give us a look online. Orix Soccer Academy, Vancouver. Love to have you out. Come out for a trial. Come out and try a training session, and level up.
Yeah, and you do wonderful work with kids. We hear, and I see. I'm always hearing that you're doing a wonderful job, and with your organization, the kids always do come first, and that's something that you should wear proudly. On that note, I'd like to thank you for coming on board Ship of Fools, where wit meets wisdom, talking about FIFA, we could be proven wrong here. This could be one of the, this could be like Expo 86, man. We don't know, but I doubt it.
I hope, I truly hope the event is amazing.
Yes.
I think these fan zones, I think it's going to be a party and then some. So I think the event is going to be amazing. And we're all hoping for that. We're just being pragmatic and saying the financial side, this is going to be hard. And the legacy to spend that kind of money and not leave a lasting legacy. That That is the issue, right?
Okay. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, as always. You will be on again because we're gonna check those things out. Take care. You may be asking yourself, what's any of this got to do with me? Absolutely nothing. Until next time.